Sean Strickland takes on Anthony Hernandez this weekend at UFC Houston, and in this video, I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know regarding these two fighters. Consider this a casual's guide to Sean Strickland versus Fluffy Hernandez. First up, let's talk about Sean Strickland. Let's talk about his fight career, how he got to this point. He started in the UFC in 2014. He went 2-0 and then decided to move down to welterweight. Not sure why he did that. After moving down to welterweight, he faced Santiago Ponzinibbio, got cleanly decisioned by him. At that time, people forget, man, Santiago Ponzinibbio was a title contender. And then he went 3-0 before losing to Kamaru Usman, which, I mean, no one's giving flack to Strickland for losing to a prime Kamaru Usman. He broke his orbital bone in that fight. After that, he went 1-2. He kind of had a middling career, and then he got into a horrific motorcycle accident, something that almost made Sean Strickland never fight in the cage again. He takes 2 years off, comes back, goes 5-0 in the promotion, basically sets himself up for one fight away from a title shot, and then decides to take a short notice fight against up-and-coming Alex Pereira. He gets knocked out in round 1. That basically sends him to the back of the line. Then he fights Jared Cannonier in a 5-rounder, in a fight where I thought he kind of won the fight. But the way that Sean Strickland fights, this is going to be a reoccurring theme. He fights on razor-thin margins. So even in a fight that I thought he won, you know, I don't hate the judges for scoring it for Cannonier. After that, he kind of went on a short-notice rampage. He took a short-notice main event against Nasruddin Imavov at light heavyweight, basically off of the couch, and soundly destroys Imavov over the course of 5 rounds. Imavov did not get takedowns going. Imavov's striking looked very mid compared to Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland basically showed the #1 middleweight contender currently levels to the game. After that, he took a short notice main event against Abus Magomedov, who at the time had only had 1 fight in the UFC. Sean Strickland says, I don't care about my ranking, and let me take this Abus guy on short notice. He goes out there, nearly gets submitted in round 1. Abus Magomedov completely gasses out in round 2. Sean Strickland comes from behind and gets a round 2 KO victory. After that, Adesanya was supposed to fight Dricus du Plessis for the title, but Dricus could not make a turnaround after the Robert Whittaker fight, so they called upon Sean Strickland for a short notice title fight against Izzy, and he goes out there and completely destroys Adesanya, winning the belt from him. This is where the story of Sean Strickland gets a little tricky, because after defeating Adesanya, he has not really looked good in the octagon whatsoever. He lost a close title fight to Dricus. Yes, I think maybe Sean might have won that fight, but with the way Sean fights, thin margins, don't hate the judges for giving that to Dricus. Then he puts on a 5-round snoozer against Paulo Costa. That did nothing for Strickland. Then he looks his career worst against Dricus in the rematch, and that is where we find ourselves today. Sean Strickland is 1 fight removed from fighting Dricus for the title in the rematch in a fight that he looked his career worst. So is Strickland going to look like that against Fluffy? If he does, he's probably going to get submitted. What kind of style is Sean Strickland? Let's dig into that a little bit. Well, Sean Strickland, he's a jab merchant, all right? He's a teep-to-the-body merchant. He consistently wants to keep you away from him, which is funny because Fluffy Hernandez consistently wants to keep you close to him. So how is this fight going to actually play out? Sean Strickland is going to consistently jab, consistently teep to the body, and keep Fluffy at range. Sean Strickland never shoots a takedown, but his training partners say he has a sneaky wrestling background. When we've seen Sean Strickland taken down in the UFC, more often than not, he gets back to his feet almost immediately. Dricus in his last fight, yes, he got 6 takedowns on Strickland, but if you look at the control time, there was barely any control time. Dricus would get him down, Sean Strickland would get up. Against a guy like Fluffy Hernandez, I think that could be a tiring pace for Fluffy. The only way Fluffy wins this is by getting takedowns, and we've seen Sean Strickland taken down and get back up very quick. So if he does that against Fluffy, he might actually have a very good chance to win. The problem that I have with Sean Strickland is that he just does not throw big because he wants to maintain safety. However, in a fight against Fluffy, someone that doesn't really possess a lot of power, maybe Sean Strickland decides to not be safe. Maybe he takes more chances on the feet, which would lead, honestly, to a Sean Strickland finish. Also, if Sean Strickland were to go out there as a plus 250 underdog and find a finish against Anthony Hernandez, not take that much damage, the White House card is around the corner in June. So, if Strickland were to win this one, they probably shove him on the White House card. So he probably has that motivating him as well. Let's talk about the flip side. Let's talk about Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Let's go over his fight career, how we got to this point. He started in the UFC by getting submitted by Marcus Perez. He was 6-0 in his debut, goes out there as a favorite against Marcus Perez, gets submitted. That was a terrible performance. It looked like Fluffy was a shell of himself in that fight. In his next one, he goes against Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle, and submits him. So I'm seeing a reoccurring theme with Fluffy fights from the jump. They put him against guys that could potentially submit him. You know, a grappler versus grappler situation. Marcus Perez, grappler. Iron Turtle, grappler. Then he gets Kevin Holland, who debatably you could deem as a pretty good grappler, gets kneed in the first 30 seconds and just crumbles. Whenever I see a fighter crumble like that, it makes it very hard to trust them in big spots in the future. Prime example is Rainier de Ridder. Rainier de Ridder earlier in his career basically crumbled in round 4, could not get off of the mat. The guy was standing there waiting for him to get up, and RDR just quit on the mat. And then what did he do against Brendan Allen? He quit on the stool. I feel like once you have that quitter's mentality at some point in your career, it will rear its ugly head later on. And he did that, kind of, against Kevin Holland. He did that, kind of, against Marcus Perez. He just let him submit him, and Kevin Holland just took one knee, and he was down. Then he goes out there as a plus 500 underdog against Rodolfo Vieira and submits the 8th degree BJJ black belt, and that basically put Fluffy Hernandez on the map. Ever since that fight, Fluffy Hernandez has basically been a betting favorite in every single fight. He beat Josh Fremd, he submitted Marc-Andre Barriault, he ground and pounded Edmund Shabazian, and honestly, that was probably because Edmund's cardio was not that good. He submitted Roman Kopylov, whose cardio is not that good. He ground and pounded Michel Pereira in a round 5 TKO victory. That is impressive, but if you watch that fight back, Michel Pereira wasn't really giving any resistance to Anthony Hernandez, if you know what I mean. Like, Anthony Hernandez does well when he's not met with resistance. He fought Brendan Allen. Don't get me wrong, beating Brendan Allen by decision 2 times in his career, that is pretty impressive. But at the end of the day, Brendan Allen is mainly a grappler, so Anthony Hernandez is just a better grappler than Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen didn't really give that much resistance either. As the fight progressed, Fluffy was just having his way with Allen. Will he be able to do that against Sean Strickland? I'm not sure. If Sean Strickland is actually fighting back and not just dead fishing like Michel Pereira was, Sean Strickland might gas out Fluffy faster than we anticipate. And then also, where are we today? He submitted Roman Dolidze in round 4 of their 5-round main event. He basically made Dolidze look like a complete fool in that fight. Now, what is the fight style of Anthony Hernandez? I have alluded to it multiple times in this video. He is a grappler that looks to swarm you with pressure. Now, if you were to try to beat Fluffy Hernandez, how do you beat him? You gotta pressure the pressurer. You gotta apply pressure to Fluffy himself. He lost to Marcus Perez because Perez took him down. He lost to Kevin Holland because Kevin Holland was pressuring him. If you can put some pressure on this guy, he's not going to look like the Fluffy that we are used to. He landed at least 3 takedowns in his last 7 fights, and I anticipate him landing at least 3 takedowns against Sean Strickland. I just don't think he's going to auto-submit Sean Strickland. That's basically where I find myself with this main event. Fluffy, yes, he will have success early, most likely, but as the fight progresses and Strickland starts, not to just get taken down, I think Fluffy might look for a way out. Fluffy's striking really is only good because his opponents gas out from the relentless grappling pressure he applies to them. So if Strickland avoids the relentless grappling pressure and applies pressure of his own, Fluffy's striking is going to look not that good whatsoever. Like, his striking is not the top 5 level of middleweight at all. Now, if we're gonna dive into why you should be picking either one of these guys, well, let's dive into Sean Strickland first. He KO'd Brendan Allen. All right, Brendan Allen was another guy that was trying to take down Strickland relentlessly. The takedowns didn't work. Sean Strickland TKO'd him in round 2. Abus Magomedov, another guy that tried to relentlessly take down Strickland to submit him. It did not work in round 1. Strickland finds the TKO in round 2. He's basically fought 7 straight 5-round fights, and he's fought in 9 5-round fights total. If there's any reason to pick an underdog in a main event that's 5 rounds, That is a very good one. The fact that he has 9 5-round fight experience. That's an insane number. He's plus 250 right now. 250 as an underdog. And that is a bit wide for a guy that is going to make this fight insanely close as long as he does not get submitted. Now, if you were to pick Anthony Hernandez, well, he is on an 8-fight winning streak, so he's aura maxing insanely right now. He's finished 6 of his last 8 wins. He's a proven finisher, and he's going to probably try to finish Sean Strickland in this fight. That's the only way he wins. I don't think Fluffy can win a decision here. He's going to need to submit Strickland at some point in this fight to win. Fluffy has also fought and defeated multiple current top 15 ranked fighters, so you can't say, oh, this is a big step up in comp for Fluffy. This is actually a pretty decent step up in competition. This is like the next fight that makes sense for Fluffy, someone that is mainly a striker that notoriously has not been taken down in the past. Anthony Hernandez has been in 2 5-round main events, and in both of those 5-round main events, he found a round 4 finish and a round 5 finish. So if you think cardio might be an issue for Fluffy, that is a reason that it's not going to be an issue, because he got 4th and 5th round finishes in his only 2 5-round fights. I will say, those were against dead fish. Those were against guys that simply were not fighting back, which allowed Fluffy to just completely strangle them and out-cardio them. Will Sean Strickland fight back? That's the question. I think he actually will. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of reasons to not take Sean Strickland. Like I said earlier, he looked his career worst against Drickus in his most recent fight. So if we're going off recency bias, Hernandez looked his career best against Elidze. Strickland looked his career worst against Drickus. So off of that alone, don't take Sean Strickland. However, let's keep going. Not sure if he takes fighting seriously at this point. Yeah, I'm not. Does he? If he does, he wins this fight easily. If he doesn't, you know, he got taken down 6 times by DDP, nearly got submitted by Abus Magomedov. Not sure what happens if his switch reverse doesn't work. You know that move where he puts his arm under the guy's leg and gets out of the wrestling position? If that doesn't work against Fluffy, not sure how he gets back to his feet. That's literally the only way I've seen him over the film get back to his feet, is by hitting that switch reverse. If that doesn't work, Strickland might just get submitted, to be honest. Also, Strickland doesn't throw with much power, and he fights on thin margins. This is not someone that you want to trust as a favorite, but as an underdog, you know, it kind of makes sense. If you were not to take Fluffy Hernandez, well, he is semi-unproven at this level. Sean Strickland, yes, is the best fighter Fluffy will have faced to this point. Sean Strickland has faced way better fighters than Fluffy. Based on that alone, you might not want to take Fluffy Hernandez. Also, not sure what happens if the takedowns don't work. Takedowns don't work, Fluffy don't work. That's basically how I see this going. Fluffy don't get takedown, Fluffy don't win. That's it. His striking defense is not good. If the takedowns don't work and the striking defense is not good and Sean Strickland is just moving forward, jabbing and teeping, we might be in for a surprise winner in this main event. Ultimately, this is what I think. This is how I think the fight plays out. Round 1, Fluffy knows that Strickland's going to give him some adversity, so he doesn't even shoot a takedown. Fluffy doesn't even shoot a takedown in round 1. Fluffy just, strikes, leg kicks, gets jabbed, teeped. Sean Strickland wins round 1. All right, so Fluffy goes back to the corner. The corner's like, Fluff, come on, dog. This is your fight to get the title shot. We need you to start shooting takedowns. Fluffy's like, bro, I smoked before this, bro. I'm chilling. I know what I need to do. Round 2, Fluffy goes for takedowns. Sean defends the takedowns well, but Fluffy still comes out with the win in round 2. So heading into round 3, I think it's going to be 1-1. At this point, Fluffy will understand that he needs to go for takedowns. At this point, Strickland will understand that he can't get taken down because round 2, Fluffy controlled him for 4+ minutes. So round 3 starts. Strickland is very against getting taken down, jabbing, teeping. Fluffy gets him against the cage, tries to get him on the ground, doesn't get him to the ground. Strickland continues to defend. Fluffy, I think, will gas out in round 3. I think after having some takedown success in round 2, Fluffy goes all in round 3, doesn't get it done. And then round 4 starts. Fluffy goes back to the corner like, whoa, I need an edible right now. Like, yo, I need to chill out. Like, this guy's just not getting submitted. He's not tiring. He's just not backing down. Sean Strickland gets back to his corner. He's standing up. He's not even taking a break on the stool. He's getting water in his face. He's looking at Fluffy. He knows he's about to win. He knows he's about to snatch Fluffy's soul, like Fluffy has snatched the soul of every other fighter he's fought. Round 4 starts. Strickland starts backing up Fluffy this time. The entire fight up to this point, Fluffy was backing up Strickland. But round 4, Strickland's backing up Fluffy. He gets him against the cage, and he TKO stoppages him. Round 4 TKO for Sean Strickland is my ultimate prediction for this fight. I can see a Sean Strickland decision. I can see a Fluffy sub. Outside of that, the next most likely outcome is a late round stoppage for Sean Strickland. He did it against Brendan Allen. He did it against Abus Magomedov. We've seen Fluffy Hernandez crumble in the past when dealing with pressure. And Sean Strickland, the price tag is way too high, plus 250. All the stars are aligning. I'm going with Sean Strickland this weekend.